one of the other top albums of 1998, in my opinion, top 5 punk rock album of 1998 is One Man Army, Dead End Stories. Boy, I tell you what, man. Okay, so first off, I have, out of all the punk rock shirts I've ever owned in my entire life, the only one that I've ever been sad to not be able to replace and figure out how is my One Man Army shirt. It was a black t-shirt with the yellow print, and it had a pair of fists on it that said One Man Army, and then it had San Francisco and these leaves going across the bottom of it. I just found the image like the other day. As a matter of fact, I'll show you where I found it. So I did that podcast with old buddy from Oil, that Oi band, and he was in a band called Randoms. They did a split, which I found and bought, with Dropkick Murphys, Working Stiffs, and freaking One Man Army, and that image is in this artwork, and that way I can rip that image and make my own shirt now, and I am going to do that. This image right there. That's one of my top 5 shirts of all time that I've ever owned, and I'm so ecstatic that I can make that back. So Dead End Stories is one of those albums that I would imagine you probably don't have a lot of information on, and you probably didn't do a lot of listening to that one, huh?
No. I'm looking it up right now. It doesn't have the One Man Army songs. I think it's the album they came up with like next after this would be the one that there was always that.
Yeah, this is the middle for them. This is the middle for them. So they had, they had Rumors.
This is when they had the video, because it was the video, that one video that
I've never been a video guy, so I couldn't tell you.
What's the song? Another Night. I think was on the punk broadcasting comp, like a video comp that was available back in the day, like 1998. That's why I found for One Man Army. It's all black and white, and it's like oh shoot, it's like Sid Vicious doing like pop music, and it looks cool.
It really, really is, dude. And they so okay, Women Army. I'm trying to find. I just had their album somewhere around here. I wish I could figure out where they're at so I could just look at them and be able to figure this out faster. But anyways, this is their middle album. They had Dead End Stories. They had Last Word Spoken, and they had, can't remember the other one. Anyhow, they were discovered by Billy Joe Armstrong. Like they were not like, yes, they were touring and playing music and stuff before he found out who they were, but their first album was released on Adeline Records, which is his label. Anyways, they're more of like this rock and roll, punk rock. He's got this vocal styling, man. This album, dude, is so good. Every single song
he sings like a smoker. It's weird. Would you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you know how like Tim Armstrong has a gruff voice, like when he's not singing, but like this guy sings with that voice, but actually sings, but has that like tone of that. But it's not as like it's like if the Casualties guy, if like Jorge had like started to sing, but it was
it's very much a gravelly singing voice, but it's melodic, it's poppy, but it's still rough and punk rock and roll. And every single song is good. There's no bad songs on it. I don't know that there's one that sticks out as like a single to me because every song on it is really good. But they have 3 albums that are full lengths. Every single song on every single album is good. So every year that they pop up with like a marquee year for them, I'm going to bring them up because their albums need more attention. They're not streaming on Spotify. I think one is. I don't think it's this one.
That's crazy, by the way.
It is absolutely nuts. It drives me bonkers, dude, because
they are like dead to me until you bring them up. Oh, I never consider them, and they were on every comp back in the day. I'm bringing them up on video comps. They were on, like, they were not that uncommon, and then they just like disappeared. And, like, they just don't exist.
It was Rumors and Headlines was their first album. Rumors and Headlines. Oh, so good.
Yeah, no, that's the one. Okay, that's the one that had SOS. Okay.
Yes, bro. Oh man, this band is so good, bro. I love this band.
And it's like true punk rock. It's almost like that 50s style. It's what Green Day. It's what Green Day would have been if Rancid was the one that broke. Like seriously, that's exactly what like if Green Day would have stayed in the streets. It's kind of what that would have been.
Yeah. So this is what. So that's what. And it's funny that he is the one that found them and was like, I love this. But like I saw them play at a little bitty place. It was like a downstairs of a venue, so they had like a Fitzgerald's was like a upstairs place, but then downstairs they had Fitz down, and you could go downstairs. And it was like this little crummy bar and this little tiny stage. It was like 12 inches off the ground, and I saw them play there with the Necromantics, and it was life changing, dude. It was one of the best shows I've ever been to. And 1998 is an important year for a lot of reasons. I'll get to that after we get done with talking about the albums. But they did a split with Alkaline Trio that's also really, really good. And it's weird that these bands don't sound nothing alike, but then when you really get past the vocals, they kind of do. Like, get past the vocals and the lyrical content and just listen to the melodies and listen to like the guitar tone. You're like, oh crap. They just, it's like these two bands started the same kind of band from different parts of the country. And one of them was a little more emo, one of them was a little more on the street. And it's like, oh, and then you cross them over. Oh, they got a split record. Of course they do.
That's what, because it worked as a split, like truly, where you listen to it from beginning to end. I love that thing.
Yes.
Because like,
Didn't
it's
Alkaline
great.
do one with Hot Water Music as well?
Yeah, and that's like I think a little more infamous because they're such good friends. In real, not to say that One Man Army and Alkaline Trio
Yeah,
aren't, but
no. I think they're all
it's
friendly, but
yeah, but like those bands tour together like a lot. Where One Man Army and
yeah.
Alkaline Trio is more of like people like you and I who kind of listen to all the different flavors of punk. You pick that up because I think of it primarily as an Alkaline Trio album because it's got like some legendary songs before they came out on Remains. All those songs eventually got to Remain. So I think a lot of people put like Sadie and some of those really great songs on Remains. But the One Man Army songs that was part of the listening experience. And unlike a lot of splits, it was hi-fi. Like it sounded amazing.
Right? You get a lot of split records that don't sound amazing.
Yeah,
I
because
can't wait to
they're
listen to
giving
this.
stuff, right? Like they're kind of throwing stuff. Bands throw stuff together, throw stuff at you. What do you got there?
No, I'm just saying I can't wait to listen to the split. The one I was showing you a minute ago.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to listen to this thing. I haven't had a chance to fool with it yet.
Yeah.
Because it's a song that I'm not familiar with called Down the Block. I don't know that one. Well, at least not by name. But yeah, man, I could talk about this band all day long, dude. I love One Man Army. They're a very important band to me. They're one that, I mean, they literally fall in my top 10 and probably my top 5. Every single song I've ever heard by them is good enough to where I go, yeah, I got to put that one on a playlist somewhere. And so, let me see about this one. Let me look at while we're talking about it, what are your favorite songs off that Alkaline Trio? That's what I meant to ask you and I totally forgot.
Let me pull the list back up. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing with One Man Army. My memory's so bad.
Well, it's
because this okay. Oh, so many good songs.
All right, so let me give you like a top 3.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll go with Trouble Breathing.
That is off this album. The split song is on this one. I was like, I know that name. It is on this record. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Let's go with Nose Over Tail.
Good song. There you go.
And then one more sleeper, San Francisco.
Okay, yeah.
That's like early emo, like what the emo band they would become. Kind of that's where they first showcased
right.
it, I think right there.
There's not bad songs on that album either, to be honest.
Well, then people associate this with that other EP, like we talked about, that like a Bright Yellow EP and stuff too, that has a lot of these songs on it. So people consider that like Alkaline Trio #1.
That's semantics.
Yeah,
I don't have the time to get into all that with people most of the time.
Right.
The top songs on Dead End Stories for me, they'll never call it quits. It's track 3 is it's really hard to pick out 3 songs, to be honest with you. But track 3, that they'll never call it quits, is a kind of a standout song. Fate at 14, which is number 7, also kind of a standout song. But the one is the title track, dude. Number 1, right when it opens up, Another Dead End Story. That song rips, dude. Like, you listen to that song and tell me that you don't want to listen to the rest of the record, and I'm going to explain that to me, please. Like, because that song rips, dude. I love that song. And I might do a video on that song, dude. Go into what it means to me, because when I first heard it, I remember exactly where I was when I first heard that song for the very first time, dude. It was after 1998. I didn't discover this band then. I discovered them whenever the last album that they had came out. It was like 2000, 2001. And then I went back and got their other records. I think because my brother and I rode around in this truck. But when I first heard this song, I was in a pickup truck that didn't have brakes. And that's why I remember it, because I had to use the e-brake, and I'd drive it to like the store, and then I'd get I'd Yahoo some beer and drive off with this. Oh, dude, it was I don't know what am I doing, bro? But I remember this album, and I remember listening to it in the truck, idling in park. my friends be like, "Hey, you want to go do whatever it was?" And I was like, "Bro, I can't drive this truck that far, man. If I drive it more than a block away, I'm gonna get into a wreck and kill somebody." And then yeah, ultimately I did. But still, like, stupid idea. Great song, great album. Anyways.
Being from rural America is fun, isn't it?
Man, I was in Houston, Texas. Like I was on Westheimer. If anybody knows, anybody from Houston, I was on Westheimer in like Beltway 8 area when I did this. Just yeah, smart, real smart. Spring Branch, bro, in the city. Let's move on. What do we got next from you, sir?
Right. This one I don't think will be on your list, but definitely needs to be on one of mine. It's Let's Talk About.